Rife machine star coil unit and was messing with it the first night that I had it plugged in. And there was a couple settings that felt pretty decent. There was several that were missing, and I don't very sus why those specific frequencies were missing, the solfeggios exactly. And then a couple of the frequencies that I tried on this app that's like some random frequency generating app that runs it all. It was quite painful, sharp, and immediate, and negative effects as well, right? So it's very strong, and you can only guinea pig yourself to so many different outside strong energy forces and fields and bombardment before you break down and start causing yourself cancers and diseases and illnesses until we have it, more figured out. Thus, the whole point of my ramble is that it's still a very young science, but it has exponential, insane potential and legitimacy to it. It just the same with these monoatomics, diatomics, ormus, GANs, whatever you want to call it, colloidal water, colloidal silver, gold, purple gold, purple silver, stuff like that. And that, one simple thing illustrating on between Bert and Ernie right now, when I poured some boiling water in on the current silver jar, it turned everything blue, aka this diatomic, which becomes poisonous, most likely the red as well. So there's extreme opposites, right? Extreme good as well as extreme bad. And that I'm not recommending anyone goes full tilt in experimenting with these things or purchasing them or using them unless you really know what you're doing. And that the whole point of the Year of the Coil series and Real Science is to bring out the inventors, the people that are doing it, that do know what they're doing, and do these experiments. And we'll go deep into it tomorrow night, hopefully with Gerald and Jeremiah and the rest of the team. All right, we're 2 hours 15 in. Anthony seems still awake, but did you want to go over some
coils sometime?
Sorry?
Maybe do like an overview of the different coils and how much power to use for people getting started.
Yeah, see, I have no idea. That's what I need Gerald and Jeremiah for before doing it, and I don't have all of the right. Like Jeremiah is saying, I should have different equipment of power supplies and controls and stuff, and that I've never actually plugged a lot of the different coils that I made myself into any large amounts of electricity or frequency whatsoever, because I understand the potential of negative exponential effects or strong energies, potential plasma fields, potential ball lightning, potential explosion, melting, because one of the requirements for the bagel coil of a coil within a coil within a coil is that the inner one is a ferrite iron, and then when you have ferrite iron toroid wrapped around copper solenoid, upon a copper solenoid around that iron ferrite coil, and put thousands of volts through, yet alone hundreds or millions in some of the experiments you do, you would literally could create, I don't know, a mini sun was sort of plasma explosion, because you'd have molten iron in this giant plasma ball. Who knows, right? Electromagnetic fields. It has to do with the tokamak reactors, essentially. These same toroidal torus donut shapes and electromagnetic fields that seem to run the universe. and the mathematic coding behind it all, but that it's sacred geometry applied into insane electromagnetic physics. And yeah, anywho, I'm rambling. It's late. We got a good stream tomorrow. But what else? Good, Anthony. Yeah. So tomorrow, bring it up with Gerald and Jeremiah, and we will get into it. And I will do some live tests of the showing off the official ways of the Rife coils and machine again with the app, and we'll do some live experiments with it. And hopefully I just don't hit any of the frequencies that hurt, and find the ones that make you feel good.
The same. Hey, does anybody have any details on replicating the Searle system, or even like the prototype when he was 14?
Yeah, so that's Jason Verbelli. He's built a couple himself. He works in advanced electromagnetic manufacturing in somewhere in America. I forget where. Forgive me, but he himself had built a couple, and then there's the Searle Society that he's a member of. That as a whole group have several, I believe, 3 or 4 working models of it and still running, and are based in Silicon Valley or somewhere in California, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that sounds right. Pretty sure I've seen him, but he never got into a lot of the details. He just said a lot of the prototypes were really expensive.
Yeah, so I believe the details are available like open source on their website, and in their freaking the cloud stuff. That's something else I'll bring up with Tim in the next APEC, and we'll get on contacting Jason. I'll email him again. I was in correspondence with him. He was stoked to come back on, and then after his YouTube channels got removed, and they then rejected his appeal, and I believe it's absolute bullshit, and he should get his both channels fully restored in full, because they claimed it was on health, misgiving health advice. It was 2 videos that he had made out of like his thousands on different physics theories, magnets, electromagnets, presentations of physics in different conferences, real technology in the lab, construction, all sorts of just amazing real science. Like Jason Rubelli was cutting edge, next level stuff. And he had 2 videos just speculating and showing different test results of magnetic water and structured water, and they banned both of his channels and removed them permanently. And I encourage everybody to please petition and write to YouTube to restore Jason Rubelli's science channels, because the real verbs is real science, and it was wrongfully censored. And I would be devastated too. Like, I'm still upset, and please also take up the cause. And in that same email to YouTube, ask for Bernard Conkin, my first YouTube channel, to be restored, as it is also to this day deleted and terminated. But although it was 14 or 15 years old at this point, like my original channel, and this was actually the background in it, this same Magrav coil, but in copper oxide, submerged above other layers of monoatomics and diatomics. There's actually 4 different layers of salt water, electrolytes, and ormus materials and wires connecting each, and I was making stacked saltwater batteries that also produce hydrogen all on their own. And that's something that we will be going further in tomorrow. But basically, that's what you see between Bert and Ernie. All these things is I put these coils into the salt water, produce tons of hydrogen off the cathode with extremely low voltage, which is one aspect of utilizing these triple electromagnetic fields from the copper solenoid bagel coils and Magrav coils and star coils and Rodin coils. And you're also exponentially increasing your surface area exposure to that electrolyte on that cathode side with a very low voltage, but an extremely strong electromagnetic, sustained electromagnetic field that you have a exponential gain in hydrogen production of the salt water out of very, very little electric input, thus most likely getting over unity potential by several fold, and a key part to Stanley Meyer's technology and development of this electrolysis hydrogen technology, and most likely a key part of the technology that we showed John Levi highlighting of another water electrolysis vehicle, where literally all you're putting in is salt water to the tank, and it's a combination electric hydrogen vehicle simply from water, and that we should all have these. It's very easy to convert both diesel, and the key part that John Levi was stating in the case that he was showing is that it was converting gasoline cylinder engines into hydrogen through water. And on TikTok, there's all sorts of shorts showing these key breakthrough technologies and them being utilized and allowed in the third worlds, like throughout Asia, Southeast Asia, throughout as well Africa and South America. And one I recently saw was, I believe, Colombia or Ecuador, where they have electrolysis flashlight battery chargers, where they literally put a scoop of salt water in, and it's these exact same jar battery style, Baghdad battery style saltwater battery things that I'm making that and working with and working out that they've come out with and used that uses a bamboo shoot, copper sheets, I believe some zinc and something else, exactly the same as what I use, that you put in salt water. It runs for, I believe, at least a week, but I think they get up to a month of it constant, nonstop, bright LED, as well as your cell phone charger and a couple USB charging outlets out of this saltwater electrolysis battery system that they make out of recycled materials. So I'll try to get that for tomorrow as well. And any last words for tonight, Anthony?
I'm just thinking a lot of the experiments they showed over time, like the palladium loading for the cold fusion and the others, actually took like weeks to like months to build up before they showed results. So it'd be interesting to have these experiments for a long period and see what happens.
Absolutely. And you just brought up such a key part of it. And what I've learned through this electrolysis stuff, the cycles of like a week or a month that gets the coating like this, if you can see the straight pink, that is this copper pipe in this red state metamaterial that Sir Isaac Newton talks of. And then the anode side that is nano-coated all itself in red metamaterial, as well as black carbons in some of them.
Do you both have a coating, or is it just the one with the wire?
Sorry?
Do you both have a coating on it, or was it just the one with the wire?
They have two different nano layerings. The pipe, the pink crystalline pipe, has a crystal lattice structure, a copper crystal lattice structure. It's literally copper in its crystalline state. It reflects light, sparkles, and grows in crystal formations off of it. And that's the anode side when it's in an active red state that Sir Isaac Newton states is the form of metals to transmutate from one solid into another. quote unquote, and a key part of this advanced alchemical science of the past. And yeah, so the cathode usually gains particle or layers and different structures, what might be tritium, deuterium, all sorts of different combinations of, because electrolysis, you're breaking hydrogen water down into hydrogen and oxygen molecules and atoms on the atomic level that can then off the anode, they oxidize and hydroxides with the metals and break down into the crystalline transmutative state. And then on the cathode side, they add on and build into solid crystal, like structured layers, these nano layered structure. Oh, it's so fascinating. But I'm rambling, and hold on. Maybe I have reference pulled up. Let's see what is in.
Looks interesting tomorrow, too.
Here we go. So right here you can see the black buildup on the cathode and the blue breakdown on the anode side of these reactions. And on the systems always. This was a little chunk of blood mucus that I put in, just a tiny speck, a pinprick, into this silver bismuth copper reaction. Here at this point, it's pure silver ounce on both anode and cathode, and it was in there for about 3 days, and it grew to the size of my thumb at that point, of like this biological matter of my own that, like, just fascinating. So when you bring the stories of homunculus into these alchemical jars and practices and the requirements of biological tissue in a electrical creation jar, it's quite fascinating. And the different biochemical implications and amplifications, and then verifications of like ancient witchcraft and alchemy and like potions and stuff. It's biological matter. And I've shown off the cathode sides when you put blood into the reaction. When I drop blood in actively on the hydrogen, atomic hydrogen coming off, it starts producing white flakes instantly. And it doesn't matter where the blood drop falls in the electrolysis water, the electrolyte, closer to the anode, to the cathode, or the wall. Simultaneously, the moment the blood hits the top of the water, the cathode side, the atomic hydrogen starts a flake of white material, which Keshi says is your amino acids, or I believe your nano particle of your resonant frequency, your own biological monoatomic piece of material that is attaching to those hydrogens, that you're adding it on, so that if you then bond that with the pure monoatomic gold, pure monoatomic silver, you have your biological frequency cell piece for piece placed with that potential quantum gold material, silver material, with your DNA like partnered or attached to it, right? So who knows? And here I'm showing this bubble. It actually captures, because it's a 4K or high capture camera, you'll see it shoots up and it actually condenses, but it moves all the way up. It's never a splash. It's actually this oxygen coming off the anode side that just flies up out of nowhere. Like, is it a plasma ball or something? Like, what does it do? But it's not dispersing. It literally shoots straight up every time, and never a ripple back of water splashing down or anything. It's going straight up, defying modern gravity and what they claim to be dissolution or whatever, the mixture of air, but rather it seems to continue in a different dimension of buoyancy straight up and out.